The pot had sat on the shrine of Ijero-Oke for 200 years, and not one drop of water, not one crack of a hammer, not one prayer from the strongest priest had ever opened it, until the night a blind fisherman's daughter touched it and wept, and the whole village awoke to find it standing open, empty and glowing faintly in the dark. Ijero-Oke was a riverside town where the smell of smoked catfish mixed with palm wine and wood smoke every evening, where canoes lined the banks like sleeping crocodiles, and where old Baba Fadeke, the town's diviner, guarded the sacred pot with a walking stick and a temper sharper than a fish knife. The pot, they said, held the tears of the river spirit Yemoson, sealed away after a great famine so no one could ever misuse her sorrow again. Legend claimed only a tear shed for the right reason, not for pain, not for loss, but for another's sake, could open it. Morounke was 17, sharp-tongued, and the daughter of Tayo, a fisherman who had gone blind after an accident on the river 3 years earlier. She fetched water before dawn, sold roasted corn in the market, and never once cried in front of anyone, not even when the other market women mocked her father's clouded eyes. That night, she had gone to the shrine not to pray, but to hide, running from Ekundayo, the chief's arrogant son who had cornered her near the palm grove with promises dressed up as threats. She stumbled against the pot in the darkness, thinking of her father, sitting alone, hungry, waiting for a daughter who might not come home. And for the first time in years, she cried, not for herself, but for him. The pot cracked open like an egg breaking from the inside. By morning, the whole village had gathered. Baba Fadeke arrived trembling, his stick forgotten in his hut. Who touched it? He demanded. And when the market women pointed at Morounke, his face changed from fury to something closer to fear. Then it has begun, he whispered, the thing my father warned me never to speak of. Here is where the story bends, because Baba Fadeke was not simply a diviner. 30 years earlier, he had been the one who sealed the pot, and he had lied about why. The truth, hidden 30 decades, was this. Yemoson's tears were never sealed to punish misuse. They were sealed because whoever released them would inherit her curse, to see the true intentions of every person around them, whether they wanted to or not. Baba Fadeke had sealed it not to protect the village, but to protect himself, because as a young man, he had briefly held the gift and seen his own brother plotting to poison his father for the chieftaincy title. He had said nothing then. His silence had haunted him ever since, and the guilt had turned him into the strict, unreadable old man everyone feared. Now, Morounke had the same gift, and within days she began to see it. The flicker behind Ekundayo's smile that revealed cruelty dressed as charm, the desperation behind her father's silence when he claimed he wasn't hungry, and the calculating stillness in Baba Fadeke's eyes whenever he looked at her, as if measuring how much she already knew.
Before I tell you what she discovered next, if this story has already pulled you in, go ahead and subscribe, because what Morounke uncovered about her own father shattered everything she believed about him. One evening, while helping him mend his nets, she saw it clearly. Guilt, old and heavy, sitting behind her father's blindness, like a shadow he refused to name. She asked him gently what had truly happened on the river 3 years ago. Tayo's hands stopped. After a long silence, he confessed that the accident wasn't an accident. He had been fleeing after discovering that Ekundayo's father, the chief, had been secretly diverting the town's fishing income for years, and in his panic to escape being silenced, he had capsized his own canoe. The chief's men found him, and rather than kill him outright, had cursed his eyes with a charm bought from a traveling herbalist, ensuring he could never identify them. The revelation cracked something open in Morounke sharper than the pot itself. Her father's blindness was not misfortune, it was punishment for the truth. And Ekundayo, whose family had caused this pain, had been circling her all along, not out of affection, but to keep watch on what she might one day see. With the emotions gift burning behind her eyes, Morounke confronted the chief publicly during the harvest gathering, describing what she saw without needing evidence: the tightening of his jaw, the sweat at his temple, the flicker of panic he could not hide. The crowd, already suspicious after years of thin harvest shares, turned their attention on him. Baba Fadeke, finally, freed from 30 years of silence, stepped forward and admitted his own brother's betrayal decades earlier, proving the gift's truth and his own long-buried shame in the same breath. The chief was stripped of his title before the sun set, and Tayo, though his sight never returned, said he finally felt he could see again in the way that mattered. As for Morounke, the gift did not vanish with justice served. She kept it carefully and used it kindly, not to expose everyone, but to protect those who could not protect themselves, becoming in time the very diviner Ijero-Oke had never truly had. The lesson passed down from that night was simple. Some tears are not weakness, they are keys, and what they unlock cannot always be closed again. If you loved uncovering this story as much as I love telling it, subscribe now, because Nigeria's rivers, forests, and shrines are still holding secrets, and I promise you, the next tale is even harder to look away from.